Prime Minister of Malaysia, Dr. Sri Najib Razak, announced new evidence regarding the disappearance of MH370 on the 8th of March. Based on this evidence, the Prime Minister's message was that we must now accept the painful reality that the aircraft is now lost and that none of the passengers or crew on board survived. This is a sad and tragic day for all of us at Malaysia Airlines. While not entirely unexpected, after an intensive multinational search across 2.24 million square mile area, this news is clearly devastating for the families of those on board. They have waited for over 2 weeks for even the smallest of hope of positive news about their loved ones. This has been an unprecedented event, requiring an unprecedented response. The investigation underway may yet prove to be even longer and more complex than it has been since March the 8th. But we will continue to support the families, as we have done throughout, and to support the authorities as the search for definitive answers continues. I will now at this juncture ask our Group Chief Executive, Ahmad Jawari, to provide you with fuller details of our support of the families.
Thank you, Mr. I stand before you today not only as the Group Chief Executive Officer of Malaysia Airlines, but also as a parent, as a brother, and as a son. My heart breaks to think of the unimaginable pain suffered by all the families. There are no words which can ease that pain. Everyone in Malaysia Airlines family is praying for the 239 souls on MH370 and for their loved ones on this dark day. We extend our prayers and sincere condolences. We all feel enormous sorrow and pain. Sorrow that all those who boarded flight MH370 on Saturday, 8th of March, will not see their families again. And those families will now have to live, they have to live on without their loved ones. It must be remembered that 13 of our own colleagues and fellow Malaysians also on board. And let me be very clear on the events of yesterday evening. Our sole and only motivation last night was to ensure that the incredibly short amount of time available to us, the families heard the tragic news before the world did. Wherever humanly possible, we did so in person with the families, or by telephone, using SMS as the last resort of ensuring fully that nearly 1,000 family members heard the news from us and not from the media. Ever since the disappearance of flight MH370, Malaysia Airlines' focus has been to comfort and support the families of those involved, and also to support the multinational search effort. We will continue to do this while we also continue to support the work of the investigating authorities in the southern Indian Ocean. Like everyone else, we're waiting for news from those authorities. We know that while there have been an increasing number of apparent leads, definitive identification of any piece of debris is still missing. But after 17 days, the announcement made last night and shared with the families is the reality that we must face and we now must accept. When Malaysia Airlines received approval from the investigating authorities, arrangement will be made to bring families to the recovery areas if they so wish. Until that time, we will continue to support the ongoing investigation. And may I express my thanks to the Malaysian government and all those involved in this truly global search effort. In the meantime, Malaysia Airlines' overwhelming focus will be the same as it has been from the outset, to provide the families with a comprehensive support program. Through a network of over 700 dedicated caregivers for each family, the loved ones or those on board have been provided with 2 dedicated caregivers, and they provide care, support and counsel to the families. We are now supporting over 900 people under this program, and in the last 72 hours alone, we have trained additional 40 caregivers to ensure the families have access to round-the-clock support. In addition, hotel accommodation for up to 5 family members per passengers, transportation, meals and other expenses have been provided since 8th of March, and that will continue. Malaysia Airlines have already provided initial financial assistance of $5,000 per passenger to each next of kin. We recognize the financial support is not the only consideration, but the prolonged search is naturally placing financial strain on the relatives. We are therefore preparing to offer additional payment as the search continues. This unprecedented event in aviation history has made the past 18 days the greatest challenge to face our entire team at Malaysia Airlines. I've been humbled by the hard work, by dedication, heartfelt messages of concern and offers of support from our remarkable team. We do not know why, we do not know how, we do not know how this terrible tragedy happened. But as Malaysia Airlines family, we are all praying for the passengers and crew of MH370.
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, I now open the floor for a question and answer session. Please state your name and media organization before you ask the question.
Yes, I'm from Hong Kong Phoenix TV. My name is Carol Chow. Actually, just now you show your sorrow to the family members, but we heard their shouts and screams, especially in Beijing, the hotel. So, up to now, they said you delayed the investigations. Did you? And actually, what is the evidence, exact evidence that you show can get the results. And some of the family members told us they went to Australia. They want to go to Australia, so could you arrange the trip for them? Thank you.
First and foremost, as you will appreciate, the missing plane was reported to the authorities, and since then it was a matter for the authorities to take over the seeking and searching and finding the plane. And it is since then the domain of the authorities. But as I mentioned earlier, our focus, our center of action throughout this period, painful period that is at this, was to provide care and assistance to our passengers. Certainly, this is a time of extraordinary emotions, so we fully understand, and in fact, we really feel for our family members of the in terms and how they react is only, it's emotional, as we may understand. As regards going to Australia, as AJ mentioned just now.
With regard to going to Australia, we had been informed by the Australian authorities that visa will only be given or granted to those family members once the evidence has been established. I'm talking about the PIC-TANI evidence.
Yes.
Next question.
Hello, sir. I'm from China News Service. My question is that so far you haven't found any debris or wreckage about the missing plane, but how have you so sure about you have determined to believe that the plane is crashed? How do you believe that? And based on the analysis of the image satellite, can you answer that? Thank you.
Fair enough. I think that's a very fair question. But as you would also
Sit down,
appreciate,
please.
especially last night, the Prime Minister came out himself to share that he has been given fairly credible leads that would point to where the plane ended its flight. And as he mentioned, that position is very far away, very remote, away from the nearest landmass. And after 17 days, we could only bring ourselves to reach certain conclusion. Yes, please.
Danny, South China Morning Post. You talk in your statement just a minute ago that this conclusion was not unexpected. Why did you wait so long for the families for them to actually be told that their loved ones are basically dead? And once, Mr. Johari, that you concluded your part of the investigation, will you resign?
As far as Chairman has mentioned, Sir Manwar has mentioned, we take lead from the investigation basically team that's been led by DCA. And yesterday, when the Prime Minister made that statement, it's very evident that the aircraft ended its flight in the middle of South Indian Ocean. Okay, so we will have to be, we just have to follow those evidence has been presented to us. And what we did yesterday was to share that as quickly as possible to the next of kin. Right? And will I resign? It's a personal, basically, decision. We'll take it later.
Next.
Hello, sir. I'm from Xinhua News Agency. My question is, has the Malaysian side provided all the information and evidence to the Chinese side that led to the conclusion of the MH370 flight ending in the ocean?
Okay, firstly, my answer is that Malaysian Airlines is the first affected party. The investigation is with the authorities, and it's best to ask the authorities.
Okay, the next one, lady in.
Thanks, Tencent from China. I have two questions. The first one, I would like to rephrase from some media colleagues also asked.
Now we confirm that the plane is ended in this middle of the South Indian Ocean, but can the survival chance of the passengers there be totally avoided? This is the first question. The second one is now there's some reports about this time the MH370 missing. Could be some machinery problem, which is very closely similar as the incident happened in 2005. Also, Malaysia airplane and also the Boeing 737. That airplane is from Singapore to Perth, and it happened as a sharp turnaround and very unstable altitude flying records. So people say these two incidents had very similar developments there. So could it be this incident today is being caused by some machinery failure? Do you have any information?
I'm sure that would be a very important consideration to be taken by the investigators. Thank you.
But the two questions, the first one, the survival chances could be totally avoided now.
At the moment, that's how we are looking at it. Because the plane ended at a place extremely remote from any landmass.
So can you be more clear on that? Can you repeat that in your book? What are you saying about the survival?
This, by the evidence given to us and by the rational deduction, we could only arrive at that conclusion. It is for Malaysia Airlines to declare that he has lost his plane, and by extension, the people on the plane.
Thank you, Bob. Lady over here.
Thank you. I'm from Chinese Hunan TV station. Yeah, during these several days, I have interviewed some people in Malaysia, including some family members. Most of them were not satisfied with the reaction to this emergency. What's your opinion about this? And why you isolate them to the outside world? Thank you.
We are saying they are dissatisfied with the opinion. I mean, can you say that? Can you repeat your question, please?
During these several days, I have interviewed some people in Malaysia, include some family members. Most of them were not satisfied to the reaction to this emergency. So what's your opinion about this? And why you isolate them to the outside world? Thank you.
Okay, our first concern, particularly for the families from China, is for their safety and comfort and certainly privacy. And that is the main concern that drives whatever we try to offer to the family members. And in terms of why we still keep them hanging on, is simply we all share their hope as well.
Why you isolate them with the outside world?
And I say it's not, probably isolating them is not a correct impression. We certainly put them in a place where they're comfortable, and that also a place where they could have privacy. And our caregivers are given, and they have given access to our caregivers with whatever they require, like visiting the places of worship for them to offer their prayers and things like that. So they are not being closeted.
Okay, next question.
Can you hear me?
I can, but it's better for you to share with the rest.
Yeah, okay, working now. Siva from Reuters, gentlemen, my condolences. The reports of the police have now narrowed the investigation to the crew members and the pilots in particular. They have discounted anything from the passenger side. Could you comment on that? Could you also talk to Malaysia Airlines? Have you had any problems in the past? any disciplinary issues with the pilots or the crew, anything that might point to anything? Thank you.
I appreciate that. I think a fair question. Just that if I may just bring back to the purpose of this press conference is to share with the other than the families of our affected passengers and crew about what we had done last night, that is to break the news, and what we do next, particularly in terms of continuing with our caregiving to our passengers' families, and what we do in terms of the normal process, as you imagine, for events like this. So your question is correct, but I think the right forum is when we meet the investigators. Thank you.
Okay, the next question will be from the gentleman over there.
You're near the speaker.
Angus Whitley from Bloomberg News. You referred earlier to the information that led to last night's announcement, but can you say exactly what the new analysis was and what the new data was that gave you enough certainty to make that statement?
That's correct. The best time is this afternoon's PC with the Ministry of Transport. They will be better to explain. We are just another affected party as well.
But you know presumably what the analysis was. What was it?
We have been given the indication that we should now arrive at that very sad conclusion for us to make as the owner of the plane.
The questions are unanswered from last night. Can you give any more clarity?
As I said, the best time is when we have the Ministry of Transport PC this afternoon.
Right, thank you. The next question will be from the gentleman.
Jeremy Grant from Financial Times. In the spirit of helping the families understand what has happened, and bearing in mind that you now do have more information which led you to the conclusion that the Prime Minister announced, what is your best analysis of how the plane got there, what actually happened, bearing in mind that we have quite some hours before the next press conference?
I don't want to speculate in terms of what happened to the aircraft. I think the investigation is ongoing. Okay, I think our focus is really for the family members, how to help them moving forward, and that's really our focus here. Otherwise, we are just speculating, and I think the investigation is not concluded, so I don't want to speculate any more than that.
We're spending all the time now in the process going forward in terms of how we can reach legal as well as moral obligations to the families.
Thank you, Ashwin. The next question for the gentleman at the back.
Thank you. Steve Butterman from CBS News. I want to ask a question about the perception, and this has been dealt with a little bit so far at the news conference. Some people, the family members, have not been happy with the way this all has come down as far as their isolation in some cases, whatever. Some people have suggested or implied that Malaysian airline officials have been heartless. Have you been heartless? Can you respond to that?
Firstly, we can appreciate that no two persons affected by the event would have a similar reaction and emotional response. So depending who you speak to, you will get a different version. So there are also enough numbers who have shown their appreciation for what we have done, and we really touched by that, and it encourages even more. So it's a question of limitation and practical limitation that we're looking at. But coming from our bottom of our heart, we're really reaching for, because you realize that 13 of the missing passengers and crew and one passenger, member of our family. Malaysia Airlines is extremely closely knit organization. We feel for each other, and that sort of extension and closely extends to our passengers as well. So the first thought is to provide that comfort was there. From the first day, we immediately formed these family assistance centers all over the place. And we dispatched our caregivers to show that, we meant what we say. And we properly enable them to provide whatever first reach that we can do. And certainly no amount of compensation or consolation will make up for any loss of life. And we appreciate that.
And could I ask one follow-up? Are you going to attempt, or will your high-ranking executives attempt to meet and talk to every family that has suffered a loss?
It's being done all the time, so the question that we do not display our name when we go. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question from the gentleman in red shirt.
Márcio Gomes from TV Globo Brazil. How do you see, I know it's a difficult question, but how do you see this position of Australian government that only will grant the visas for the families when an evidence is found? Maybe still there is hope in Australians' opinion?
Well, actually, I can't speak on behalf of Australian government. But
that's why I say that's a difficult question.
Yeah.
Do you agree with this position?
It's whether I agree or I don't agree, it's a position the Australian government takes. Okay. Like I said, we are here to ensure that we support the family, right, and to make sure that we fulfill their wishes.
Yeah, I can expand a little bit more. Firstly, okay, in this time of human challenge, compassion will rise. So I think that protocol notwithstanding, I'm sure those issues will be raised. As we say, this is an unprecedented event, and we may be looking at some unprecedented way to resolve this. So we need not necessarily look at the book immediately.
Okay, we go to the last couple of questions.
I'm sure that those issues will arise, and I'm sure it will be addressed.
The next question.
Hi, Jason from the Wall Street Journal. I understand that you have stressed that your focus right now is to help the families and so on, but Malaysia Airlines is also a party to the investigation and also the owner of the aircraft. So can you tell us, after more than 2 weeks, what is the most likely cause for this mishap? Is it more? Can you at least tell us confidently that it's not the plane's problem, it's pilot's error, or?
Yeah, I appreciate your curiosity, as we are also, but we have to draw a line between what is, should be in the formal domain and what we can do. And our focus at the moment is more in terms of what we can do, which is outside the investigation area.
Yes, so but can you provide at least a little bit more information?
Yeah,
so everyone here would like to know.
Yeah, certainly, but we do not want to jeopardize or anticipate anything.
Okay, can I have the last question from the local media, please?
Yes, please. Can I have one question over here? Melissa from Channel News Asia. I would like to talk about future for MAS. May I know how badly has it affected business for MAS? How badly confidence has been shaken, and what do you plan to do about it?
Well, obviously it has affected the airline, but so far, like I said, we're doing our best to ensure that those that bought Malaysia Airlines tickets, we ensure that they are being served, make sure that they're being flown safely, comfortably. Moving forward is something that we will look into. Obviously, it's something that we must basically share with the families of those on board. We must empathize with them, and I think this is a very painful period for the airline, and something that we have to basically, we do share this period with the families of passengers and the crew. Our procedures are code tango, not necessarily we actually declaring code tango now, but we have actually ratcheted up our process and procedures up to level of code tango, okay, to ensure safety and security of our flights.
Thank you. Can we have closing words from you, Tan Sri, as well as from AJ?
family ada call minta kata banyak semua buat dalam klinik. So family tak faham, boleh tak Datuk Azantri bagi apa yang mat nak bagi tahu dalam bahasa.
Inshallah, we can have a separate one. Thank you. So my only remarks to the same as original. We are extremely sorrowful for the event, and our hearts and prayers are with the family. Thank you.
AJ, final remarks from you.
Our focus, as Tan Sri mentioned, is really to ensure that we provide care basically for the families as we move forward. It's not very easy. It has been 18 days, and yesterday's announcement was, really a painful, basically a very painful fact for us of losing an aircraft in the middle of South Indian Ocean. And our responsibility as an airline and our moral responsibility here is to ensure that we manage the lives of those affected moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Tan Sri. For members of the